Welcome back to 11 of the last 20. Next on our countdown, we head back 20 years for a player whose athleticism and dynamic scoring ability still resonates with everyone today. Check him out.
Number 7, Ephrata's Dan Snyder. 3-year starter, 1,100-point scorer for the Mounts.
Dan would have been right at the turn of the century. The thing I remember about Dan is anytime you have a player that can score from all over the court, they pose a lot of problems, and Dan was one of those players.
Snyder hesitates, drives, baseline, reverse, off the glass, score the 2, Dan Snyder.
Yeah, we're going back in time, but Dan Snyder was a great athlete.
Here's Snyder. He gets double teamed, splits it, lays it up, and a pretty move by Dan Snyder.
Obviously a point scorer for an Ephrata team that, didn't have a lot of talent at that time, but a guy that they looked to as far as leadership. He showed by example.
Hobbly shot knocked away by Snyder.
And he showed up by scoring points. Very consistent player.
Snyder to the hook.
Dan was just a really competitive guy. He wanted to win everything. He was real physical, great athlete. He'd start at three-point line, take one dribble, get to the elbow, pull up, elevate over everyone, knock down baskets. I mean, he was just a really good athlete, really good scorer. Coming into the game when we played him our senior year, he was averaging almost 30 points a game. He was just a scoring machine, and there was not a whole lot we could do about it.
Snyder at the other end for 3. Got it!
I tell you what, Dan Snyder is on fire tonight, Eric. They cannot leave him open.
Back in those days, Ephrata didn't have great teams, and Dan was kind of the focal point of every team to stop, and he still was able to get his points, so that was pretty impressive.
That's pretty much been the story for the Ephrata Mountaineers. It's been Dan Snyder and his scoring.
He could play inside, he could hurt you with his back to the basket, he could hurt you from the outside, he could hit the three-pointer, full court, half court. He did a little bit of everything, which is why he was such a prolific scorer for Ephrata.
Number 6, Warwick's Joey McCracken. 3-year starter, 2019 most outstanding player in Section 2.
Unfinished business. You look at what he has done already in 3 years, and it's really impressive.
Yeah, nice shot there from McCracken as he stays hot.
What can you say about Joey McCracken? He's just such a phenomenal athlete.
The biggest credit I give to Joey is a lot of people, when you consider who's a really good basketball player, is you just immediately go to scoring.
McCracken way out front.
Obviously, Joey scores the ball, and he can do that.
Working one-on-one on Hagan. Boy, that's a tough matchup for Hagan.
The other things Joey does sometimes go unnoticed. And pretty much every game we play, Joey guards the best player on the other team. And to be able to do that, be the leader, be the point guard, be counted on to score points.
Oh, what a step! McCracken!
Wow.
And everything else we count him to do, but to have to guard the best player along with doing all of that and leading everybody else on the team. I told him all the time, I said, I'm giving you unrealistic goals, and if you come even close, you're doing a heck of a job.
Joey is one heck of a defensive basketball player.
As Warwick comes up with another turnover.
For me, what stands out about him on offense is when he's in the open floor. When he has a full head of steam coming down the court, he's tough to stop.
In his sophomore season, first-round game against Lancaster Mennonite.
Down to 10.
Watch Burnside in the corner.
9. Terry off the mark.
He gets the ball at the defensive end, takes the ball up the floor.
Here comes McCracken.
He's got time.
Time is running out. There's only a couple seconds left. He drives, puts in a layup at the buzzer.
Gets the bucket, and that's the ball game. Warwick comes back to win it.
That game against Lancaster Mennonite was such a back and forth battle, and you could see Joey was buying into this, and I think he was enjoying it. And then to come up with that last play, to get that rebound, and instinctively just turning up the floor and running and getting that basket at the buzzer with the layup, an incredible finish. And Chad Landers, I think, was ready to fall out of the press box.
One of the greatest games probably ever played in this gymnasium.
I mean, it was just an incredible play, and I think that really maybe is what catapulted Joey McCracken up to that next level. Like I said, unfinished business, and hopefully a strong last chapter.
Number 5, Manheim Central's Matt Walsh. 4-year starter, 1,200-point scorer for the Barons.
Matt was a really good athlete, and he was good at everything in basketball.
Walsh with a nice crossover, and he jams it home. Oh, you could see it coming, too.
He could finish around the rim. He could shoot. He was a good free throw shooter. Like, there was just, he was just good at everything, and, you know, there was no weakness in his game.
Reverse underneath, and it's Matt Walsh.
He was a great teammate. He's one of those guys that he kind of changed. We talk about culture a lot. He kind of changed that culture of our program because of how good he was to his teammates. Just an unbelievable guy all around. He cared about how others felt. He genuinely cared about the younger guys and made everybody feel involved. The other key point I thought with Matt was a right-handed player who was so dominant going to his left hand, where if he went to his left hand, he could take a one-dribble jump shot, and he could go left, take that dribble, and if you didn't stop him, he was going downhill and he was dunking with his left hand.
Look out. Oh, my. Get out of the way. You don't want to end up on a Matt Walsh poster.
Matt was just an incredible guy to coach on so many different levels. Just a special kid all the way around.
Emotional leader.
Walsh in the paint, dips in, bucket, and one.
He, I think, was the building block that really helped spring Manheim Central in that 4 or 5 year period where they became pretty recognizable as far as basketball in the Lancaster-Lebanon League.
Walsh will put up a three to start it and get the first points.
Well, there you go, right out of the gate, like I said.
Guy that could jump through the roof. Very athletic, like I said, an emotional player, and had a very strong inside game, and obviously was a guy that carried the load for a couple of years.
It's not a coincidence that during his era, you know, Manheim Central had so much success, you know, getting to the district finals, winning state playoff games, and you know, he was a special player.
Number 4, Garden Spot's Todd OBrien, 6th all-time leading scorer for the Spartans.
Todd OBrien was one of those rare 7-footers in the LL League, but he had the skills to go with it.
Just what you want out of a big man. A guy that really can control the paint at both ends of the floor. 15 points a game.
Here's OBrien, a little floater. Using the glass to perfection was Todd OBrien.
10 rebounds a game.
OBrien with the miss. Offensive rebound, and then he just powers his way inside.
5 block shots a game.
And now he's back. Oh, that's a nice, they say all ball. And he comes up with a block, does OBrien.
That's exactly what you want out of your big guy. A rim protector on the defensive end and a guy that gets points at the other end.
Todd was a very good player, and he was unique to the area, being that he's 6'11". You don't run into that every day.
For OBrien, the quick turnaround, 6-footer drained it. John, when you're 6'11", it's tough to stop.
Even though he scored the basketball, the number one thing in Todd's high school game was his ability to protect the rim.
You know, that's what we were talking about in the beginning part of the show. That's the height of OBrien, just not maybe blocking shots, but making them difficult.
His biggest contribution was the shots that people didn't take.
And OBrien swats that one away. 3rd block of the ball game from OBrien.
When he was in the game, people wouldn't drive to the basket nearly because no one wants to get their shot blocked.
There's the block by OBrien.
And the thing that was special about Todd was at nearly 7 foot, he was a perimeter player. He was more comfortable facing the basket.
Snyder on the inbound, so OBrien, nice little 10-foot jump shot from the big guy up and good, nothing but net.
That was nice.
And while it drove some high school fans crazy, wondering why he isn't just underneath dunking, that's ultimately why he became so successful at college and then at the professional level.
I've unfortunately had the opportunity to play against Todd, but in terms of big guys to come out of this league, he's as good as it gets. And one of the things I always say is big doesn't mean good, but if you put some skill with it like Todd was able to do, and just how he was able to change a game just by walking in the gym.
We've cracked the top 5 in our countdown, but coming up next, we unveil who made the top 3 and who's walking away as our #1 boys basketball player of the last 20 years.